If you are an empath or an energy sensitive and you feel absolutely overwhelmed and you flatline, you need to lie down, you need to be in a dark room, it's exactly that, because you have reached your limit, you have reached the capacity that you can take, and there's nothing else you can do than rest. My name is Nietzsche Linda McIntosh, and I help energy sensitives and empaths work out what's theirs and what's not, and how to find your way through. Okay, now what's actually happening is the abilities, the gift that is the empath and the energy sensitive is that we're actually processing at a much faster, finer rate. So we may be looking at, we see pattern recognition, we see senses, we see the really small facial movements, and we feel the energy when the words that somebody says don't match the facial expressions and don't match the body energy that's coming off. So we're processing all of this stuff while also processing our own recognition. We have to process the fact that this doesn't add up. The face 2 plus 2 plus 2 does not equal 6, it equals 17. And these people are giving us different messages. And then we're processing our own feelings and our own beliefs. So we're having to accept things that aren't real. We're having to people please or keep things calm or say yes when we mean no. So there's a whole array of sensory input and overwhelm that's happening with every single experience of the empath. And also things like they may walk into a room and you scan the room for everything and you can feel the dirt and you can feel the chaos, or you can feel the atmosphere, or you can see into the corners further than other people can. Or you can look at the tree and you can feel the imbalances. And when you actually have what most people just have a thought and it goes from A to B, whereas empaths and energy sensitives have a thought and it ricochets off into a million different directions, alongside processing your own feelings and thoughts inside that as well. And what normally happens is, especially as an empath, you're probably had a lot of experience of people pleasing because you're mitigating between what you see as the inconsistencies in what people are offering, because that's life. Life is, navigating the variables of the human race. If somebody says, oh, does your bum look big in that? Does my bum look big in this? We kind of do a little white lie, and it's mitigating whether it's a big lie or a little lie, or whether we're saying the truth or whether they're saying the truth. And one of the things with the empath is that they know the truth and energy clearer than many people do in themselves. So you're actually trying to navigate this moving goalposts, this energetic fluctuation of everything around you, as well as processing what is the right response. So you're trying to filter between what they're doing, what they're saying, what is the truth, what is an acceptable truth right now, and how do I manage this, how do I mediate this, alongside what are my needs, what do I need to do right now, what is the best interest of me, and what keeps my life as smooth and calm as possible. And this is in a nanosecond. This happens so fast. The amount of processing that's in that. And I thought this was normal living, and I've learned that people don't actually think and process and have as much thoughts going on as I do. And what's actually happening is you've reached your limit. You've actually gone to the top. So I liken it to, energy is a big subject. It's difficult to translate into words. But when you have eaten a lot and eaten so much, you can't eat anymore. If you eat more, you will be sick. You will be too full up. You will create disease. And that's what energy overwhelm is. You're up to the top. Some people say they're overwhelmed and they're up to the top. And what I call it for myself is I hit the wall. I just hit the wall and I'm like, I can't take in any more information. I'm full up. I can't process this anymore. My brain isn't working anymore. My brain can't computate anymore. I can't understand basic sentences. I can't make a decision. I can't tell you if I'm coming or not. I can't tell you if I'm going to make it to that event. We're full up. Now, this is the same as the food when you're full up and you've had too much cake. The best way is that you have no more cake and you let that cake get through your system. You stop eating the food and it gets through your body, and that's it. You start to feel better and you think, I can maybe have some cake again later in the week. Okay, so that's what you're actually doing as an empath. You're full up, you're up to overwhelm, your battery is depleted, your energy is depleted, but your actual capacity is gone like 110%, and you're just like, look, time out. And that's exactly what you need. That is the only way that you can recharge through this, that you can get this cake through your system and get it out, is you have to stop sensory input, stop the processing, stop the decision making, stop the senses. Not only the senses like the hearing, the seeing, the touching, the energy's moving, you really do need that downtime. So I'll give you some examples. You tell everyone that you're not available for 24 hours. You really need to be making no decisions. You need to be listening to your body. You need to put yourself in a dark room or maybe go in nature and get that sense of decision making out, because it really hurts the brain. It really overwhelms, and it just then it amplifies, because then you're going, oh, did I make the right decision, or maybe I need to go back and I need to change that decision, and that's not actually what I want. So you step out, you hit the wall, you're full of cake, and you need to stop having cake and let that cake get through your system. Okay, so the first thing you do is you stop. You take 12 hours or 24 hours or 3 days or a month, whatever you need, go on a retreat and step away. Okay, and you need to let that cake come down. You need to let that decision making come down. The sensory processing has to come down. So no decision making, no major decisions, no major moving. Even really simple things, even if you just don't want to have a shower for a few days. And then you also need to tell yourself that that's okay. You have to have a while where it doesn't make sense. Okay, so you're not making any decisions, but you're also not scolding yourself for the wrong decisions. So you can stay in the same clothes in your pajamas for 3 days. Or I sometimes have a lollipop for breakfast. I just make no sense. I just do silly things. And it's not about feeding my inner child. It's just about doing whatever I want and not making sense. If you want to have crisps for your breakfast, if you want to have a hot dog for your breakfast, just do that kind of thing. If you want to, sit in the garden and just your underwear, then do that. It doesn't have to make sense, and just let it do what it needs to do, whatever your senses need in that moment. You stop the processing. You stop the making sense and let it be. So it's not actually a rebellion of systems. It's actually a break from systems. So we're not, just like the cake analogy, if we can't have any more cake, we're full up. I feel really full up. We don't actually have like a hot dog on top of the cake, because we'll still be unwell. We'll still feel sick. Okay? We need to stop eating, or eat something healthy, but really just stop eating, okay? And let our body process that food. So this is taking a break away from senses and doing things that don't make sense, like having a lollipop for breakfast or sitting in the garden in your underwear. It's not rebellion. It's not the hot dog. It's not doing something different just because. It's actually just, there's no rules. And just relax and just chill out. And what you're doing is you're actually educating your brain and your senses that this is okay, and you don't have sensory processing going on. Oh, you're not saying, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, and what will the neighbours think, and if you have the lollipop, it's like, oh, I need to look after my teeth. None of that stuff. You're going, this is okay. This is really present, really mindful. You're in the garden in your underwear and you're enjoying listening to the birds, and there's no drama, there's no deadlines, there's no anything. And you're giving yourself time to let the cake through your system, to let this come down. There's no processing. There's no decisions. There's no deadlines. There's no time. There's nobody looking at you. There's nobody scolding you. Nothing. And this energy starts to come down. this capacity that you'd reached, this overwhelm, is coming down. Okay? So this is one of the ways. Another way is you can actually, take your senses down quite physically. So you could be in a dark room, or you could wear an eye mask, or you could wear a hat, or you could wear glasses, just so you're not interacting so much with everything around you. And then people won't, if you're walking down the street with dark sunglasses on, they're less likely to engage with you, and you're less likely to have to explain all your interactions with everyone. So the sensory downput, I wear hats so you can't actually see me. I'm not being rude, I'm not doing anything wrong, and it just gives you that breathing space. If you can't go away for a month's retreat, it gives you that breathing space to let this cake get down through your system. Okay? You also need to wear fibres and clothes and create your environment that doesn't actually buffer you. So you don't wear the office suit that scratches your skin. You don't wear the office shoes that are too tight for you. You really get into the comfort zones. You relax, you slob. You wear things in fibres and shoes and things that make you just relax, so you don't have to process. You don't have to buffer against something that's really scratching at you. You want to take that out. Take that out of your day, okay? The fitting in. You wear and you be who you just are in a relaxed manner without any judgment. Okay, and this is allowing that energy to come down and get that cake through your system. Okay, another thing is that you tell everyone that you can't make decisions right now. You can't. They have to wait, and it's not going to be long. It could only be a few hours or a few days or 24 hours. And you tell them at the beginning, and anyone with any respect for you or kindness will understand. Even if they don't understand it for themselves, they'll love you enough to give you that space. And often with empaths and energy sensitives, we have leaned in a lot, we have given a lot, we have compromised our energy a lot. So you will get a gauge on how people respond to that request for quiet time to switch off in your own needs, and you'll get an understanding of how your relationship is with these people. Okay, so that could be that's a conversation for another day. So this is what the empath and energy sensitive overwhelm is. You've reached your capacity. It's like pouring into a cup, and you keep pouring and it's full up, and then you keep pouring and it pours over. You're not going to get any more out of that cup, no matter how much you pour in. You need to stop pouring into that cup. Let the cake get through the system and just bring it back down. And if you want to put more in that cup, you need to drink some of that drink, let it go down, and then you can pour more into that cup. And that's what this is. It's a time out. It's a stop. It's a make no sense. It's a sensory stillness, sensory relaxation. There's no decision making. There's no sensory overwhelm. There's no compromise. There's no overthinking. There's no processing. There's no decision making. There's no trying to fit in. There's no trying to have conversations. There's no saying yes when you mean no. There's no saying no when you really want to stop it happening. You're just saying nothing. You can be speaking to people, and you don't have to ensure that that relationship stays alive in that moment, because you're stepping out of trying to fit into the world, and you're fitting into your world. You're fitting into your needs in that time. So this takes a lot of self-awareness, and this is my 3 pillars of healing. Self-awareness, responsibility, and doing the work. And this is self-awareness. This is recognizing what you need and being responsible for your needs. So it's being aware that this wearing the scratchy suit to work is actually touching your energy field all the time and really bugging you. So right now I'm actually on a car. I've taken a rug because it's a laminate floor, and it's cold. And I know to deliver this message, my feet would be bugging me right now if they were on the cold floor. So I've put a rug underneath my feet just to take that sensory input, to stop it being this niggle, niggle, niggle. It's like a kid tugging on your t-shirt. Mum, 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 mum. It's like that. So I've taken that tug out of my decision making and my processing, my awareness. So now I'm not thinking about it, although I am talking about it. But it's an example. I prepared my space before I delivered this, okay? And that's the awareness of who you are, what you are, how you function, and what you need. The awareness that this is why I'm like this. This is what I need. When I get to this point, I need to stop. And a lot of what an empath is doing is mitigating everyone else. We are controlling and managing everyone else because, not because we can't control ourselves, but because the world doesn't understand. Because we're always trying to make sure that everything around us is okay so we can just live and function. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you hit the wall, you go right up to the top, and you need to tap out of that for a while. It's called rest. Normal people, other people who aren't energy sensitives, they're not normal. I shouldn't be saying stuff like that. They don't need that. They call it a holiday. So they take a holiday from their own life. So people who don't have this empath and energy sensitive, they go on holiday. They go away for a while. Whereas we are actually just taking a holiday from everything around us and staying at home, okay? Because if you were to go on holiday, it could be nice, but you'd also have that processing because you'd have to speak to the hotel manager and to the restaurant and things. So this is what I suggest, and that's why it happens. You've reached your capacity. You're full of cake. You can't eat any more cake, okay? And you can't put any more cake in. You can't even try something different. You can't try hot dogs. You need to stop. You need to stop that tap. Turn off the tap and let that drink go down. Let it drain through your system and recalibrate. Now, normally, this is not about having your energy, your prana, your chi. This is about sensory. Just the computer's going too fast for too long. The machine has been going like this for too long. Okay? And it needs to slow down. It needs to rest. It needs to be oiled with cake or lollipops or sitting in the garden with just your underwear. It needs to have its own time out. And that will come down, and then you can go out again. And every time that you go out again, you have stronger energy because you've recharged. You're down here again and you're recharged. And you have more awareness of where your center is, where you're neutral, where your balance is. And so therefore you can feel when you don't meet the balance, when you're having these difficult conversations. So you're aware. And that's one of the 3 parts of the healing. And then you become responsible for how you interact, how your conversations go after that recalibration. So you may have healthier boundaries, or you may talk about your relationships, or you may eat better, or you may go and buy some less itchy clothes, a new suit for your work that doesn't scratch you so much. Okay? We've all been there. And this is part of the awareness and then taking responsibility with it. Okay, you can find out more about that on my website and all the services that I provide. So I hope that helps my energy sensitives and empaths. And when you have your overwhelm, just bring it back down, and there is a way through it. So all the best. Lots of love.